Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we are in the 18th Sunday of year C. The first reading of today is taken from the book of Ecclesiastes. As the world grows with a mindset of pleasure seeking and consumerism, the words of the first reading is very prophetic and important. It says, "Vanity of vanities, all things are vanity." In the second reading, St. Paul tells the new converts that they have to look for the things of heaven. Because Christ is in heaven, through baptism we have become anew, thus all our thoughts to be centered on heavenly things, not on earthly things. The Gospel of today, which is taken from St. Luke, elaborates in depth the themes of these two readings. Yes, Jesus speaks about the need and the importance to become rich in the things of heaven rather than the things of earth. Thus, all the three readings are directly aiming at the people who are immersed in the materialistic society. The gospel passage begins with a person requesting Jesus. He asks Jesus to tell his brother to divide the inheritance with him. It was common that people approached rabbi to settle their disputes because rabbis interpreted the Torah, the law. So people usually approach the rabbi for the application of the law. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verses from 15 to 17, speak about the law of sharing of property among the children. Jesus did not want to be a normal rabbi to settle the property issues. But Jesus took this opportunity to speak about the attitude towards wealth. The parable that Jesus spoke in the gospel of today is been popularly known as the parable of the rich fool, because God calls the rich man in the parable as fool. Fool was a strong word at the time of Jesus. Jesus himself instructs not to use this word. We see this in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 22. Yet, in the parable, God uses this word towards this rich man. Why? Because the decision, the action, and the thinking of this man demonstrated a false perception of wealth, life, and world. So, how do we understand the rich fool of this parable? First, he was a self centered person. In this parable, the rich man uses the words I, me, and myself for 10 times. This itself shows how much he was self absorbed and ego centered. Second, he did not have love for the poor and needy. Person who has the spirit of poor begins to love poor. He did not want to share his wealth with the needy, rather, he wanted to stock it for himself for the future. Third, he was depending on the materialistic goods and the world. The rich man in this parable thought that his wealth will bring happiness and peace in life. He believed that his possessions, his wealth will be his security. But in reality, they will not help him. In fact, we read in the gospel that the wealth will demand of his life. They will take away his life. And fourth, he thought that the wealth and the possession of this world are permanent. Thus, he was not ready to leave them. We see in the Gospel of Luke that the disciples, Peter, James, and John, left everything to follow Jesus. Levi left everything and followed Jesus. Zacchaeus gave half of the possessions to the poor. Early Christians put everything in common because wealth is not the end. God is our goal and the end. Because of all these characteristics, the rich man is being called as fool. So, what are the lessons we learn from this parable? First, greed for wealth is a common human problem. but we need God's guidance to overcome it. Second, wealth will disappear at any time, no matter however we try to safeguard them. Third, our value is not based on our wealth. God judges us not on what we have but on what we are. Fourth, do not be a self centered person. Reach out to others, especially those who are in need. Fifth, find your happiness, richness, and security in God, not on material things. Yes, at times we give more importance to our possessions and wealth than our life. Let us ask this question in this week. Are we content with what we have? Finally, dear friends in Jesus Christ, number 2402 of the Catechism of the Catholic Church speaks about universal destination of goods. What does it mean? Through the principle of the universal destination of goods, we, the Church, profess that the goods of creation are destined for the whole of humankind. At the same time, the Church also recognizes the individual right to private property. Thus, the blessings we receive as individuals or as community are meant to be blessings for all the people and not just for few. Anyone who does not believe in this teaching of the church is a fool. Amen.